I warn people, don't poke the bear. Don't poke the bear. I'm the bear. So I'm going to show you what happens when you poke the bear. I'm going to talk about money and how money works, voodoo economics, and how our current turmoil is being used to reduce red tape, but not the red tape we need reduced. First up, let me explain something, how money works, okay? It essentially flows in a circle like this. The producers, companies, they're at the top. The consumers, workers, down here at the bottom. Right? Pretty obvious. These people work, they get paid, they buy things, they get paid. But here's something that you may not have considered. The more broke you are at the bottom here, the more profitable you are. Think toilet paper, right? Like if these people don't have money to buy toilet paper, they're going to buy a 2-pack or a 4-pack. If you have a little bit more money, you're going to buy a bulk pack. Why do you do that? Because per roll, you're saving money. These people are the most profitable because they don't have the money to buy in bulk. A 2-pack of toilet paper is more profitable than a 30-pack of toilet paper. So the less money these people have, the more profitable they are. But you're seeing the problem, right? Eventually they run out of money. And since these people get their money from those people, when those people run out of money, those people run out of money. Which is why this whole tariff thing is a problem. The assumption in the US is that things will just keep ticking forward. No problem. Except this is like hitting the brakes on your car and wondering why it's going to stop. Over the last 100 years, the United States has been the most prosperous nation on the planet because they did not have tariffs. When they put tariffs in place back here, it was the worst 10 years in their history. They talk about that in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. You know what else they talk about in Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Voodoo economics. Voodoo economics is a term used by George Bush when he was running against Ronald Reagan, explaining how Reagan's policies don't work. Reagan won, and now we call it Reaganomics. It's the idea that if you cut taxes for the very wealthy, for the producers, they will invest that money to help the consumers. But it doesn't work. That's why it's called voodoo economics. Now this bleeds over into the idea that we have to reduce regulation, that somehow that's the problem. Doug Ford says, let's not take 3 or 4 years to get a permit, on which I agree. Let's not put up barriers because there's a grasshopper in a field and everyone has to stop and wait for that grasshopper. It's ridiculous. No. There's a reason why we put those barriers in place, because that grasshopper is incredibly important. And why are we worrying about grasshoppers when there's plenty of space in our cities that needs to be revitalized, utilized? This is the old Studebaker factory in Hamilton. It went out of business in 1966. That's it on the corner there. Look at all this land that does nothing. Rather than go into new spaces and worry about grasshoppers, why don't we go into these spaces? Why don't we clean this up? Make sure this can be used again. Repurpose that. Here in London, we have Canada's only Hard Rock Hotel. This, in the old Kellogg's building, is already revitalizing the east end of the city. Why? Because people want to be near these cool places. The biggest barrier to the success of the Hard Rock Hotel and 100 Kellogg is what's around 100 Kellogg. 100 Kellogg is over here. That's the old McCormick building. It's a shithole. Many investors have come and gone, said they're going to do something with this. It's still a shithole. That's where government should step in. This is where we need red tape to get out of the way. This is where we need assistance. Stuff like this is impeding progress. So let's get rid of that. Let's not worry about the grasshoppers, shall we? All right. You poke the bear. There's a whole bunch of you who want to vote conservative right now. You are the 3 monkeys. You hear no evil, see no evil, and speak no evil, so I'm going to show you the evil. Do you remember this man? He is now the director of the IDU. What is the IDU? It's an organization of right-wing political groups, and they work together to win elections. Right there. It's like everyone's on the same team, if you understand what I'm saying. Is Canada in the IDU? Yes, they are, represented by Pierre Poilievre. Oh, that's interesting. Who else is in the IDU? The Republicans. You know, the people that want to take over Canada? Yeah, them. Now, there are a lot of things said about the Republicans, but apparently not enough. That's Matt Gaetz. He was going to be the Attorney General. See, going to be the Attorney General. But then he wasn't going to be the Attorney General anymore. Why? Because of this, and I'll read it for you because I know conservatives don't like to read. Gaetz, 42, has been the subject of allegations of human trafficking, illegal drug use, and paying for sex, including with 17-year-old. He denies the allegations, but he quit his job so no one would look into it. Because others have said already that he has shown them the photos of all of that happening. And what's funny is when you look into the Republican Party, you find people like that all over it. And that guy endorses that guy because they're all in this. And none of you give a shit. You say you do, but you don't. So I'll put this out there. Imagine if this man did these things to your daughter, like so many of them have done to other people's daughters. And you think that's just fine because they're supporting your favorite